Hi, I'm Joel Bloom, President of New Jersey Institute of Technology. At NJIT, we believe that not only our students, but all citizens need to be informed about the issues facing higher education. As New Jersey's Science and Technology University, NJIT is proud to support the important programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Wells Fargo, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, making healthcare work, the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child, New Jersey Council of County Colleges, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities, and by Verizon Communications.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to a very special edition of One-on-One. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce, for the first time on this particular set, Liza Cartmell, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Atlantic City Alliance. Good to see you.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's update folks. We're in May of 2013, but a lot going on down in AC. First of all, what is the Alliance?
The Alliance is a private not-for-profit that's mission is to market Atlantic City as a tourism destination, but we are privately funded by all 12 casinos in Atlantic City.
We're going to be showing a lot of different visuals, and you're going to help us work through this.
Sure.
First misconception, we had a conversation on the phone a few weeks ago, and you were saying, you know, a lot of people are confused about what's really happening in AC versus further north on the boardwalk post-Sandy.
Yep.
What does the boardwalk look like in Atlantic City, and what doesn't it look like? Let's go to that.
Literally, the day after Sandy, the boardwalk was pristine, it was intact. We could have been open and ready for business. Obviously, some of the residential sections got hammered, like most of the Bay areas, you know, along the whole New Jersey shore. But the business section,
it looks fine.
It's perfect. It's great.
Wow, the media sometimes doesn't get it right, huh?
Well, yeah, it's a shock, I know.
Shocking.
Shocking, I know. You know, they just loved that visual of the water crashing on the inlet where there was a section of the boardwalk that had been condemned. And that
a section is the operative word.
And a condemned section that was already slated to be removed was removed by Sandy.
Okay, so post-Sandy, obviously challenges across the Jersey Shore, but in the AC area, let's describe what's happening. The biggest things that are going on, and again, this program will air for a while, so some of these things will have happened, but it's a year-round situation, so the website will be up. People can go on the website. Let's put the website up as we do this, folks.
Yeah.
People can go on the website. What can they find out?
Well, the whole slate of events in Atlantic City are posted on the website, doatlanticcity.com. So anyone can go on that website, and in fact, there's itinerary planning tools that will help you sort of filter through the hundreds of activities that are available to do in Atlantic City. So if you're coming down with a group of the girls or a group of the guys or with a special person or with your family, we can help sort of navigate through all the different activities. But we have literally hundreds and hundreds of activities going on in Atlantic City that are really exciting.
Let's name some of them. When we were talking the other day, you were saying that
Well, Margaritaville is scheduled to open Memorial Day weekend.
Got that.
So we have a lot of new investment in Atlantic City. So the Tropicana, by way of example, is putting 6 new full restaurants in, many of them on the boardwalk, right on the boardwalk, Chicky and Pete, which is more of a Philadelphia favorite, but I think the New Yorkers are going to love it too. Margaritaville, obviously, opening up. Landshark Bar and Grill, 5 o'clock somewhere, you know, is another big attraction that they're adding in. Whole new facade on the boardwalk. So, you know, as you go up and down the boardwalk, there's just an amazing amount of new attractions. Steel Pier is going to be adding 6 new rides.
The Steel Pier.
Steel Pier.
Put that whole Steel Pier thing in context for us.
The roller coaster, fully intact. Fully intact.
Wait a minute, that's not the roller coaster I saw. Oh, that was Seaside Heights.
That's Seaside Heights.
This one never had a problem.
Never had a problem. No, in fact, there was a tent out on the far end of the Steel Pier that was perfectly intact, much less all of the mechanicals. Yeah, we actually went up and looked at the roller coaster that's sitting in the water in Seaside, but obviously most people who aren't as familiar with New Jersey, they think, oh, that's got to be Atlantic City, and the reality was Steel Pier is already open for business. and people are on the rides already.
So you actually need a campaign, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We do. You know, the tourism business is very competitive. You know, other destinations spend $100 million, $40 million, $50 million, $70 million, depending upon if you're talking about Las Vegas, Orlando, Anaheim, you know, all the places that are big tourism attractions. They spend money aggressively. So Atlantic City needed to create a marketing campaign. So the money has been set aside due to the support of the legislature and the governor. The casinos are putting in $30 million a year. And so last year, for the first time, we launched our Do Anything, Do Everything campaign.
So go again and say it again.
Do Anything, Do Everything, Do AC was the way we describe our campaign, because we feel that Atlantic City offers something for everyone, regardless of your price point, the duration of your stay, or your interests. If you want to chill on the beach, or if you just want to stroll the boardwalk, you can do that. If you want to go out to a nightclub and stay up all night and watch the sunrise as it comes up over the boardwalk, still in your heels and your jacket, you can do that too. You can go out to a five-star restaurant. You know, you can just have funnel cake on the boardwalk. You know, we really feel that we offer it all. That's why we sort of talk about do thrill, do chill. You know, you can enjoy whatever you want.
But there's some of the other events that are really interesting, not just the locations, but some of the events you're talking about. And again,
Yeah.
we may miss some of them in terms of the fact we may be airing after, but that's okay because the year-round events. Let's talk about some of those really terrific events.
Yeah, we've got some great, well, just this past weekend, you know, it was really fabulous, great weather, sunny on the boardwalk. We had 7 tented locations spread along the entire boardwalk. We called it a wine promenade.
A
wine promenade. We had 150 wines that you could sample, along with pairings with bites that all the casino properties provided to appropriately pair. We had a sun tent, we had a thrill tent, we had a boardwalk game tent, we had a vintage Atlantic City tent, we had a sips and sashes right at Boardwalk Hall to celebrate the return of Miss America. And there were
Is the Miss America thing a big deal?
Miss America's a big deal. It's a very big deal. You know what? It pulls 6,000 or 7,000 people to Atlantic City right after Labor Day, which is just a great thing in terms of really keeping the summer going. Because quite honestly, in my opinion, the events we have staged in the fall are perhaps some of our better ones because the weather is perfect. Everyone who grew up at the shore knows that the water's warm, the air is just lovely. It's a cool breeze, but it's perfectly temperate, and it's usually the sunniest weather we have. So, you know, Miss America bringing people down to see the shore at its best is a great thing for us.
Any other events that you're excited about?
Oh yeah, we have just coming up in June. We've got the World Championship of Sand Sculpting.
Sand sculpting?
Sand sculpting.
Come on, how many people would really get
Championship.
involved in that?
Oh my God, we've got 24 people coming from all over the world.
The
And
world?
From all over the world. These are the best artists in the world who work in sand. We give them plots of 10 by 10 or 20 by 20 square foot on the beach. We have a whole section set aside right by Caesars Pier, and they will be competing. They start June 10th. They won't finish for a couple of weeks. These are massive works of art. They're basically pieces you can stand in front of, and you have to look up at them in some cases. And we will be awarding the prize on the 23rd of June, but we're also going to have the offshore powerboat race going at that time. We're going to have our Armed Forces Parade on the 24th. Of course, we have the
Armed Forces Parade.
Armed Forces Parade, where
What
we're
about the air show?
celebrating a tribute to all of our armed forces, marching down the iconic boardwalk on the evening of Monday, the 24th. And then, of course, on the 26th, we have our famous air show.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Famous air show. We're moving it from August. It is totally reshaped this year, obviously impacted by the elimination of all military across the entire country. No military will be performing in air shows. But the Chamber's done a really great job putting together, I think, an even more fun show with commercial air participants that is really terrific. A 3-hour show, free on the boardwalk. You can stroll the boardwalk while all the aerial stunts are being formed. You can camp out on the beach. So June is really chock-a-block with a lot of great activities. And of course, then we go right into magical 4th of July fireworks spread up and down the whole boardwalk. And it just kind of rolls on from there. You know, September, we've got, you know, world-class beach volleyball tournament that we're bringing.
Is it almost year-round?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It is year-round.
Year-round activities. Of
So-
course,
so-
we move more inside, but you know, people realize that the beach is just as much fun to walk in the winter.
It's interesting. This whole, you know, Atlantic City situation, obviously there are challenges the city faces, particularly off the boardwalk area, and those challenges will continue. What are some of the benefits, Liza, to the rest of Atlantic City that are derived from some of the things that you're talking about right now?
Well, the more people we bring, the more jobs we create. It's all about jobs and really growing the economy again. So the more people we can get to come back to Atlantic City, the resources are there, the facilities are there, the ability to entertain is completely built out. So the more people that come, the more employment it will trigger. And the more employment you trigger, the more economic investment you also trigger at the same time.
And before I let you out of here, for people who say, well, I'll go down for the day, you know, I'll hit the casino, in and out, you say?
I said, that's fine.
But
We have day trippers, but we'd love to have you stay overnight, because then you have the real Atlantic City experience. You know, you really have an opportunity.
Experience.
It is an experience, because, you know, you can come down, as I say, and craft a complete experience for yourself. And that includes the dining, it includes the shopping, because, you know, we have the outlet stores. Most people don't realize we have 100 outlet stores in a place called The Walk. That is just a phenomenal, wonderful experience. It's outdoor. It's more of a strolling sort of European flavor in some ways, because it's more of that, you know, sort of explore the sidewalks and just meander through the different stores. And at the same time, you can finish it up with a great show, or just go to hear a live band, or you can go dancing, or you can just walk along the boardwalk and enjoy the sights. So again, this whole variety of things that you can kind of pack in. You know, we all have these very stressed lives. So the ability to just get away and have a chance to connect with people that you care about is what we really offer.
Liza Cartmell, President and CEO of Atlantic City Alliance, I want to thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure to be here, and I'm just inviting everybody to come down and do AC.
Got it. You have a great job.
I do. It's fun.
You go to all those parties, don't you?
Of course.
It's your job.
I have to test them out.
Somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this. Somebody has to do it.
Brand standards.
Exactly. Thank you.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, Ph.D.
1 on 2, here we go. Major General Maria Falca-Dodson, U.S. Air Force retired director of the New Jersey Vet2Vet and Vets4Warrios program, and Lloyd Deans, peer counselor supervisor for that same set of programs. I want to thank you for joining us. By the way, throughout this program, you're going to see a couple websites up and some telephone numbers. Those numbers are going to be for the New Jersey Vet2Vet program. By the way, and Vets4Warrios. Describe what the New Jersey Vet2Vet program is, General.
Well, actually, both programs are peer support helplines. So
For vets?
For veterans. Every person who answers the phone is a veteran. And in fact, some of our folks are still currently serving in the National Guard and Reserves. So we man those lines 24/7. We cover all service branches. And any time of the day or night, a veteran can call and get another veteran to talk to them and help them.
So, you know, they come back, you know, your colleagues are facing all kinds of issues, right? What are they facing?
Everything from financial issues, marital trouble sometimes, and, you know, basically sometimes they want to come back and speak to another veteran.
They do?
Absolutely.
So you describe your service. We're going to show some pictures of you in uniform. Describe your service.
Okay, so in 2008, 2009, I deployed to Iraq, to Baghdad, and I did some detainee operations in the high-value detainee facility. So we had the who's of detainees there. And I did some convoy missions and tried to represent the state of New Jersey the best way we could.
So you come back,
Yeah.
and you're like, all right, I want to make a difference. I want to help, right?
Right.
So you're a peer counselor.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Well, right now, for us, it means making that connection, right? So you can imagine someone coming back, and like a cop, for example, right? And they have something going on with them. The easiest way for us to make that connection is speaking to another cop or speaking to another veteran. So they call us is right away. It's, hey, you know, sometimes it's, you're in the Army. Well, I'm Marines. I want to speak to another Marine. So
really?
Oh, absolutely, all the time, which is good because we have Marines that work with us as well. So they go ahead and get connected with the right branch, and we make that connection. The information starts coming out. What's the problems? How can we help you?
And New Jersey Vet2Vet started back before anyone thought of any of this stuff in 2004-05, and we are celebrating our 8th year now. And that's limited to New Jersey veterans, but the Vets4Warriors is a national helpline, and we cover all 54 states and territories, and DOD funded that 16 months ago. Yes. Thank you for explaining my acronym.
You deal in acronyms.
I know I do. It's hard to break the
That's all right,
military
General.
mold. But, you know, here's the issue at the heart of it. After World War II, we had 16% of the country had served in uniform, and every family member, every household either had a military member or they knew a military member, and they all had a common shared experience. They could go to work, they could go to school on the GI Bill, and they didn't even really have to talk about it. We know that generation, that's the greatest generation, right? So I say this is the next greatest generation because they're all volunteers. We've gone 38 years, 39 years. That's right, without a draft. But here's where we are. 22 million Americans are veterans, which is 7% of the population. Very small number. And those serving in uniform, 2.3 million, less than 1% of the American population. So you have to throw a brick pretty far to hit another veteran.
So it's hard to know of someone who served.
It is.
And so therefore we're not as
circumstances.
conscious of it. By the way, let's keep putting up the website, the telephone number. There are vets watching right now. There are people who do know. Maybe there are people who may not know they know of someone, but someone is struggling right now. Someone is suffering. A vet can't get a job. A vet might be losing his or her house, marriage, into a substance abuse situation, right?
Yep, correct.
How about just filling out the paperwork that is necessary to get access to government programs, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
how do you help them?
I mean, Steve, imagine, and just to segue off what the General was saying, imagine, you know, this is a 6-year issue, right, since Vietnam. So imagine this resource for our Vietnam vets coming home. I mean, we're 24/7. You can call anytime. You speak to another veteran. And to answer your question about the paperwork, you know, we'll guide them through the process. We'll bring the website up with the resource that they need, walk them through it, give them a contact number. And once they're done, we also follow up with them in another week or so just to make sure that resource we gave them was okay or if they need anything else.
What's that like for you?
It's great. Imagine the kind of job I do. I wake up every morning, I'm looking for cameras like, you know, I'm actually doing this. I'm going to help veterans, you know, in my everyday life, and it's a great feeling.
Rewarding.
Absolutely.
And for you, and by the way, what's most interesting is that we just happened to see each other last week at the Edward J. Ill Awards.
Yes.
You were recognized with our partners at MD Advantage and Patricia Costanti. It's so interesting to see you interact in that world and be recognized for the work that you're doing. Is it hard for you interacting with back and forth with military, civilian life? And is there a different culture in the military world that the rest of us just don't get?
Yes, there absolutely is. Military cultural competency is a huge issue. Providers need to be educated about it, lots of facets of society, and probably employers need to understand the military culture as well as understand what it is to transition a military person into the workforce, whether that person's coming off that active duty or it's one of their Guard or Reserve members that went off for a deployment and then returned home.
Excuse me, I'll give you an example. Our production was running late today because bad weather, happens to be raining today. It's May in New Jersey. My information tells me that you came very early. So everything's running late. Did you come on military time?
Yes, we did.
So you're laughing.
If you come on time, you're late.
Oh, no. Is that right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
On time.
That's right.
That is the difference between military culture and the rest of the world.
The biggest part of that culture is our warrior ethos.
Warrior ethos.
Never leave a person behind, and the mission is everything. So, you know, it's probably in reverse, but it is what permeates everything that we do. And there are lots of other professions that are analogous, like law enforcement.
Yes.
But they're not the same.
And by the way, you never blame anyone else. You always take responsibility.
Right.
Yes.
And you're always helping each other out. So one more time, let's do this again. We put up the websites and the information again. So if someone watching right now is either a veteran or they know of someone who's struggling, a family member, a friend, you can help them with what? Say it again. What kind of services?
They can call us 24/7, connect with another veteran, talk about their issues, and we will refer them, no matter where they live, to resources that we will find for them, whether they are for counseling, for VA services, for benefits and entitlements, for financial resources, legal resources. We'll connect them. Any part of the country, not just New Jersey.
And
Final word?
And if you choose to be a little bit more anonymous, you can also chat with us on our website 24/7, and we'll take care of it as well.
And a big part of what we do, Steve, as one final point, is we call all of our callers back. We do follow-up to make sure that they got what they needed from the referral we gave them, that they're doing okay. We do a check on them, and we continue to follow them as long as the vet needs us, and we make proactive calls to the folks in the individual ready reserve as well.
General Lloyd, I just want to say thank you for the work you're doing now. Thank you for all the service that you provided to our country, while the rest of us enjoy the freedoms that this country provides us only because of the service that you've given us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org, or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, Ph.D.
Let me introduce you to Dr. Michel Boufadel, is Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering at NJIT, also the Director of the Center for Natural Resources and Development Protection at the NJIT campus. Good to see you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the impact of Super Sandy. A lot of people talk about the impact of Sandy from, in terms of the buildings that were destroyed. But the ecological impact, just in terms of the salt water alone, I was trying to understand, and again, I do not know much about the scientific and impact. Just describe what was destroyed that way.
Yeah, essentially what we did when Hurricane Sandy occurred, we contacted the National Science Foundation and we wanted to evaluate the impact. So we had three teams. One team dealt with fish, impact on fish, another team dealing with the impact on dunes and sand erosion, and the third team was dealing with the impact on inland ecology and wetlands. But even from that group, we also investigated the movement of chemicals into residential area.
The movement of chemicals into residential areas?
Yes, yeah.
Why would chemicals
be moved? Because they are usually a different part of the bay, and they are kind of quiescent, maybe within the sediments, and then the hurricane came and suspended them, and then moved them to places between the houses. So we literally went between people's, houses, in their front yard, backyard, and we took samples, and then we found high concentrations, high levels of lead, high levels of arsenic in people's yards. So I think there's a public health concern there.
What is it? Because right now people watching are saying, what does this mean? And so my question is, what does this mean?
Well, lead, for example, is a carcinogen and it's toxic. It's what you call a cumulative poison. So
at what levels?
At different levels, but the problem with lead is it's not the acute toxicity. It is cumulative in the sense that if someone ingests it when they are 10 years old, it doesn't leave the body. So if the next dose they take when they are 20, it keeps accumulating. So I think that these are some of the concerns, especially that was the main concern in our country regarding lead.
You got to follow it over time?
Well, it just doesn't leave the body. So it's not exposure and then it's gone. The body doesn't excrete it. Essentially, it binds to the bones. So you have these chemicals, they could be, very toxic. So we monitored them. And then we saw that following the hurricane, they spiked up within the sediments. And this is like just at the ground surface. So if you have children a couple of weeks after the hurricane playing in that region, they will be impacted.
What kind of efforts are being done to remove a lot of this sediment, a lot of these chemicals that are so dangerous?
I think in some areas there are very rigorous and vigorous approaches. But I think the challenge that we're dealing with is the large extent. You have hundreds of miles of shorelines that are impacted, so it is not easy to remove everything at the same time. And from that perspective, what we are thinking is to develop some techniques, although they cannot stop the hurricane from reaching these areas, but at least channel away some of the contaminants away from residential areas. In other words, let's say if you have a landfill here and then here you have a town, you cannot stop the water, but maybe you want to make the water to go from the town to the landfill.
How do you do that?
Well, you just kind of veer it. You try to direct it in one way instead of trying to stop it totally. If you can stop it, that would be the best solution, but it's, as we know, it's very expensive.
Talk about the dunes.
Dunes, we have an expert, Dr. Nancy Jackson, and she worked on dunes for the last 30 years. Where it hit, we have a lot of sand loss, especially in barrier islands.
Yes.
However, at other locales, other locations, you have sand depositions, such as the meadowlands. Now, of course, the idea is always, should we replenish the dunes? I think the short answer is yes.
It is. So the Governor Christie in New Jersey and many others are saying, look, we really have no choice. We must build these dunes because where they were, down the shore, particularly in the barrier islands, the damage was not as great. And that those who are pushing not to have the dunes are getting in the way of progress. They don't want to give the easements, if you will, and it's going to be worse, right? Because they're saying it's blocking their view, according to the governor and others. You say?
I would say there are some locations where you have to bring the sand, and build the dunes, such as where you have the habitats for the spawning of, for example, horseshoe crabs.
Yes.
So if there is no sand, then they will not run up the beach. And subsequently, you won't have the birds that they can be foraging on them. So there are ecological reasons sometimes to just add the sand. The other one is, of course, economic. And as a Polytechnic University, NJIT, I mean, the direction from the head of the research enterprise at NJIT, Dr. Sebastian, is that we want balanced growth. We want or responsible growth. So you want to bring all the expertise to bear when you're dealing with such a disaster.
Complicated.
It is very complicated.
We have to be studying this for years to come, Doctor.
Yes, I think, and there will not be one particular solution. And I think it will depend to a large extent on the stakeholders, how much the communities are involved in the decisions. Because really, the engineering solutions, I mean, I think in this country we have the expertise to develop them. But I think the challenge is really to get the people to buy in.
Do we have the will to do it? The willingness?
Correct.
Because real quick, 20 seconds, doing nothing is not an option.
I agree, correct.
You can't say, well, let's hope it doesn't happen. Hope is not a plan.
No, there has to be something.
Yes.
But sometimes we should go after the low-hanging fruits. So and that's
keep talking off the air. But thank
Okay.
you, Doctor. What do you mean by low-hanging fruit?
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Wells Fargo, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the New Jersey Education Association, New Jersey Council of County Colleges, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, PSE&G, and by Verizon Communications. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.